Billy Schoenberg. I'm here to teach you about how to use Zoom for parallel and work in progress sessions of the 2020 Virtual International System Dynamics Conference. The first thing that you need to know is that all sessions will be held using Zoom. For all parallel and work in progress sessions, we'll be using the Zoom meeting functionality. The next thing you need to know is that as a presenter or a session chair, you need to arrive to your session 25 minutes before the session is scheduled to begin. That way you can participate in sound checks, screen share checks, and video checks with the technical organizer or the conference volunteer before the session begins. The first thing that's going to happen when you join a session as a presenter or a session chair is that the technical organizer is going to make you a co-host. So right now I'm viewing the list of participants, which I got to by clicking the participants button, and you'll see that I'm not yet a co-host. So what'll happen is the conference volunteer will make me a co-host, and that way I can then share my screen. Without that permission, you will not be able to share your screen. So you need to make sure that the conference volunteer turns that permission on for you. The next thing that you need to do is learn how to share or unshare your video. By default, your video as a presenter or a session chair will automatically be shared. If you don't want it to be shared, you can hit the Stop Video button at the bottom of your screen. If for some reason it's not being shared and you'd like to have your video be visible, you can hit, in the same location, a Start Video button. When it's time for you to present your content, you'll be asked to share your screen. Because you've been made co-host, you'll be able to click the Share Screen button and choose which screen on your computer that you want to make visible. I prefer to share my desktop as opposed to an individual window like PowerPoint, because in my presentations I tend to jump out of PowerPoint and show other applications on my desktop. But if you're more privacy conscious and you're only showing stuff inside of a PowerPoint presentation, you can choose to just share the PowerPoint. Once I click on the desktop, I hit the Share button, which then makes my screen visible to all of the attendees of the meeting. I can then come into PowerPoint and present without any problems. After the presentation is over, there's going to be time for questions and answers. Questions and answers are going to be done using the chat feature inside of Zoom. So I've stopped sharing my screen right now so that it's easier for you to see the chat functionality. The chat functionality can be accessed from the bottom here, and in some cases, participants may type HU for hands up, which signals that they want to be called on. In other cases, the participant may ask a question. Your job as a session chair is to confer with the technical organizer and decide how you want questions to be asked, and if you as a session chair want to monitor the chat, or if you would prefer that the conference volunteer monitors the chat to ask the questions. Finally, as a presenter, you need to be mindful of the fact that you have a limited amount of time for presentation. You will get warnings verbally by the session chair at 5 minutes remaining, 3 minutes remaining, and 1 minute remaining, or if you're in a work in progress session, at 3 minutes remaining and 1 minute remaining. The final thing I'd like to show you is how you can get to the documentation which explains everything that you've seen here in the video. You can go to isdc2020.systemdynamics.org and then click the Help button to get to all of the documentation for the conference. And you can go into the online conference roles and responsibilities to learn more about your particular place within the virtual ISDC. Thank you very much and have a good day. Bye-bye.